The biggest party of the summer is in the books, and so are the predictions. Welcome to the first ever predictions, Post-Mortem, a unique data analyzed show where we look at the predictions of Team NoDQ, including us two, where it was 50-50, the best, the worst, the most disproportional, the most even, the most unanimous. Hope you all enjoy the conversation. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend, subscribe to Gino, follow him. And again, if you want to be part of the conversation, let us know your thoughts. If you were part of the predictions league, what did you predict? If you were wrong or correct, we'd love to hear it. Let's go ahead and see if anybody else busted or hit the jackpot this weekend. This should be very interesting. Also, SummerSlam, rip. Dino, good to see you. This is a very unique new adventure for us as we are both data freaks. I'm looking very forward to venturing into this with you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. The idea kind of came to me that we would do the breakdown of these predictions before maybe disseminating them out and doing all that stuff. This is the pilot episode, so everybody bear with us, whether you're watching live or on demand. We plan on fine tuning any of these things that might go wrong, but we're looking forward to having a good discussion about the first ever 2-night SummerSlam, who got it right, who got it wrong, and just kind of having fun talking about it.
Yeah, same. And as someone who's been doing this type of booking and predictions and prediction leagues analysis since 2018 and only gotten more and more expanded upon it, it's very interesting seeing the breakdown of how many got wrong, correct, if anyone got perfect, if anyone got nothing, because I've really seen people get nothing inside the team. Of course, shout out to the entirety of Team No DQ. Of course, we are just two members of the entire 18 of us. How big this team's expanded since I started doing this when it was like 10 or 11 people. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about this with you in a very unique aspect. So, I think without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the data. For those that want to get an idea of what I do, beep. I literally individually score everybody in and out of Team ODQ as well as the Galaxy. The league, of course, comprised of over 70 plus people, and the team comprised almost a third of that. And this is kind of the team's breakdown. The green, of course, shows how many people got correct. The black, of course, is how many people got wrong. As you can see, nobody had a perfect night. And I think the first match we need to talk about from a prediction standpoint, Gino, what the hell, bro? None of us got the tag match right with Randy Orton and Jericho. Not a single soul in Team No DQ picked Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. And I think it comes back to that idea of we always expect a celebrity to win on a premium live event. I can't recall the last time that actually happened when we got the opposite. So what's your thoughts with that outlook on the team? And of course, you getting that wrong. And what was your thoughts and your prediction?
So if we just want to pull that back up real quick, if you don't mind,
Absolutely.
Noah. Also, guys, I got to give Noah his flowers. This, it looks all nice and neat and all this stuff, but if you know anything about statistics and working with spreadsheets, it can be easy, but it's a lot of hard work, and he puts in the time and the effort to make these and to do these predictions. He got like 90 different predictions submitted last premium live event. So keep up, and if you guys want to be involved, make sure you reach out and whatever. But I just want to thank Noah for doing this because this is a lot of fun, and I really appreciate it. So we'll get right into it. Yeah. I mean, obviously, guys, you're looking at it right down that line. It's just black, 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 black. Every single person picked Jelly Roll and Randy Orton to win that match. Now, that felt like one you wouldn't stray from because of WWE's history of letting celebrities win their first match, WWE's history of whoever goes over on the go home show usually doesn't go over at the event. Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre were Jelly Roll was getting the better of Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre until the go home show, and then it was Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. They had done what they did leading into SummerSlam. So I think everybody was thinking about the celebrity's first match, and they looked weak on the go home show. So that for me, I can't speak to everybody, but that was my big thing. Like, I think the correct people won, though, right? So I don't hate WWE for doing this, but it's definitely something that, it would have taken a lot of courage to select Logan and McIntyre in this spot.
Yeah, I was just going way too much off WWE typical celebrity logic conventions because I figure about people that have competed on premium live events over the history of WWE, including not limited to Bad Bunny, Snooki, just to name a couple of people. Ronda Rousey when she first showed, of course, she was a signed WWE superstar.
Yeah, you
And
had
truth be,
Stephen Amell, who was the Arrow host. I think you mentioned Bad Bunny already, right?
yeah.
Like we've had people make the transfer over. I mean, Drew Carey back in the day got chokeslammed by Kane, right? It
Nearly.
wasn't an official match, but
No.
Mr. T was one of the WrestleMania 1 main events, right? So it was like you have had that crossover, and usually the celebrity does win. Now, this Jelly Roll has been putting in a lot of time in the performance center, whether
Mhm.
it looks like that on screen or not. But I think that it might have been his call to lose. I think he understands the business. Now they're bringing people in that understand the business and are fans of the product versus people that might just be a draw and don't really know a lot about WWE type of thing. So I think that they're choosing their people better, even though Travis Scott made the mistake of breaking Cody Rhodes' eardrum when he shouldn't have done that. But I think that they're doing a good job picking people who know the business and understand when to lose, and more importantly, when winning is necessary.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to your point. You think about the last celebrity that was not signed W superstar, Telly Pat McAfee. I mean, he's not signed W superstar, but he's also had a couple of showcases on the grander stages. SummerSlam and WrestleMania, particularly, he won, but of course, Gunther he lost against. I think about Johnny Knoxville, WrestleMania 38. WrestleMania
Yep.
showcase, one against Sami Zayn. But yeah, here Jelly Roll to me and Logan Paul, I could literally see Jelly Roll being on Logan Paul's impulsive partners after this. Talk about the psychology that went into that match. Why it felt so mainstream that I hate you. I don't belong in WWE. Well, you're just a guy that's being literally ruled by your prime branding and have no talent at all. But when it comes to psychology of the business versus in-ring acronym, I do think both Jericho and Logan Paul respect how the business works. And I think it showcased during that matchup, particularly. Now, whether or not Jelly Roll was in ring peak, that's up for everyone else's jurisdiction. But you can name how many celebrities that haven't even touched a WWE ring that are fans of this. And Jericho got to perform in the biggest SummerSlam ever and took one of the gnarliest bumps that already made mainstream radio when I was going into work the following day. So I got nothing but respect for Jelly Roll. And the next day, what was he? A fan of the audience. So clearly, he did right by WWE and by the match, it seems. And apparently, he was in good spirits.
Mm-hmm. And arguably the most important of all, he was still selling his jaw,
Oh, yeah.
right? And he was still playing up that it had hurt. So I love that. I love that. So nobody got that one right. So which means nobody got a perfect event, right? It's
Nope.
incredibly difficult to get a perfect event. As much as wrestling is scripted and staged, right? Is it as predictable as we think, right? I was watching WWE Unreal and they talked about, like the difference is that it's coming, but you still have to take it, right? Like a punch or a slap is coming, you still got to take it. These moves are coming, and you're consenting adult in these things, but it's still, it hurts. Bottom line, if it was truly and utterly fake, nobody would be getting injured. So,
Accurate. And, and,
mhm,
and the thing is, even during rehearsal, where you're trying to get that confidence of comfort in knowing that cue is going to come when they're live, they get hurt during that. People have literally gotten injured during training, for Pete's sake. It's not friggin' ballet. It's not friggin' shadow boxing. It is a physical showcase to a degree. People get blitzed up.
mhm.
Anyway,
and
but
and
yeah.
and in the case of Vince McMahon and Triple H, just running into the ring can tear your quad off the bone. So, but I digress.
Uh,
So we have that match that nobody got right. Is there a match that everybody got right?
Uh,
No.
no. The closest though, everybody nearly got right, ironically enough, and I gotta be legit with you, Gino. I said on City Predicting, the forum I host predictions and talk about who, the percentages of they pick this, in the entire Galaxy and team. I'm surprised that the WWE Women's Heavyweight Triple Threat match wasn't unanimous. Three people did go with us. Excuse me, two people did go with Mommy Rhea Ripley. And I think it's justified because maybe they thought Rhea was going to get her moment back against Io Sky. Naomi wouldn't be pinned, but she defended in defeat because Triple Threat protects champion defeat. But also Triple Threat protects future challenger with not being pinned. But as we saw, it was Rhea Ripley that got rolled up. But two people went with Mommy, and it bit them in the ass, quite literally. Of course, you and I went with Naomi because she just got the title. It was her first defense. If you're going to prove you're not a third wheel, you got to prove that you can present. It's one thing to be a champion with a championship. It's another thing for the championship to make the champion. This is Naomi's make or break. You had to give her a chance.
I agree. I think that the only reason I didn't go Mommy is because Naomi just got it. Not only that, but this new gimmick is working. It is over. Proceed with caution. She's really finding her stride. And Triple H even said at the press conference, well, I guess that's not a press conference anymore. They do the post show, probably so they don't have to be asked about things like Brock Lesnar and Triple H attending the White House and whatever, all that stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I think why they're not doing the press questions anymore. But I digress. He said that Naomi arguably could get, even though she's a veteran, she could get most improved female wrestler because of the work that she's done with this new gimmick. And yeah, you got to give her the ball, let her roll with it. It's working. Her cackling laugh, her being mean to people, like coming across as like authentic. And you know, coming all the way from Funkadactyl territory to here, like, dude, Naomi had to leave the company like Cody Rhodes, like Drew McIntyre, and come back and is now hitting her, you could argue, her prime and her stride. So I'm really happy for her, but I do see why people put Rhea. But at the end of the day, when we're predicting, you're basically making a bet, not with money, but you're making a bet. And if it was with money, you're gonna go with what makes the most sense. Even though Rhea should have never lost the championship to Io Sky leading up to WrestleMania, right? Because he is your top level female superstar. You could argue she's bigger than most top level men superstars. So
accurate.
So I see why that is, and she has her own episode on WWE Unreal. Like these things, you know, her and Charlotte are on the top of the food chain, and neither of them are singles champions at this time.
Which is kind of refreshing because I do think people get kind of tired of that trope of they're always on top. We get it, but can you do something different with them? To Charlotte Flair's credit, she's now a tag champion, still a championship, but at least not a singles championship. And Rhea Ripley right now, based on, for those that watch Monday Night Raw, like me, because I watch all things wrestling, shout out to W fam, it looks like her and Io might become a tag team, which refreshes the entire women's tag team dynamic. So not only do you readjust to your top single stars across the women's division this generation, you also try and make other championships matter as well. But yeah, I do think people kind of went with Rhea because, of course, Perth, Australia, we got Crown Jewel, but of course we have another stop before that. And Rhea has been hell-bent on getting back this championship and being Io Sky in the process. It's more for me to look at Rhea Ripley. What's the bigger goal? Get the title back or beat Io Sky? Now, her and Io might become a duo. Can they coexist? To be continued. But yeah, for me, Naomi, I felt she's been heavily underrated for the longest time, even during the 2016 draft split era where Naomi actually became champion, showed her glow. She didn't feel like a mega presence at all versus Becky Lynch and even Alexa Bliss that she took the title from back at WrestleMania 33 on her home turf. She really hasn't been able to shine out on her own since leaving WWE, becoming the Knockouts World Champion, and her and Jordan Grace had that great feud. So I'm really pushing for this character to put Naomi in the spotlight. According to what I heard, she was supposed to give a promo on that Raw, but it wasn't even on air. It was like a mini YouTube exclusive or a social media thing. So I don't know whether or not that's just a time constraint or poor planning, but I also right now don't want to believe they're already underwhelming Naomi or underestimating what she's capable of. But Naomi had to win here, regardless of whether she's been Io or Rhea. Now it's just a matter of whether or not Rhea faces Naomi eventually one-on-one or Io at some point faces Naomi one-on-one, because you got to build new challengers, even if they are two of the biggest stars already known. But looking at the current women's roster Monday Night Raw, you don't have a lot to choose right now. So I'm hoping they do have a direction for her. I know we got Stephanie and Clash in Paris, but what after that?
Well said, well said. And now we did mention Charlotte and winning the championship. Now this is more of a little bit of a 50-50 prediction. Some people thought Judgment Day were going to retain, and I was on the fence about this. I was like, but it's Alexa Bliss, who's my favorite women's wrestler, and Charlotte Flair. Like, you've built them, they're getting over. It seems like smart to pull the trigger on giving them the title, but I could absolutely see the idea of keeping Judgment Day the title until Liv comes back, because you could have done it one of the ways. Liv comes back and be like, I can't believe you were partnered with, Roxanne, and you're becoming friends with her and still the champions. But now she can come back and be like, I can't believe you let her wrestle for me and now you lost, blah, 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 blah. So either way, but, you really had to pull the trigger on Charlotte and Alexa. They're just too over. And at some point, you got to strike while the iron is hot. And the fans have switched from booing Charlotte to chanting she deserves it.
Yeah.
So all of that is helpful, and I think that was the right decision. And I'm glad I picked with my heart instead of with my booking brain. So.
Yeah, you got me there, Gino. And I like the fact that this is the first match you and I were opposite fun on, because literally I was focused on the Judgment Day agenda and Liv Morgan coming back for revenge, figuring that, oh, you're trying to replace me. Finn Balor's trying to replace me, etc. The fix is in. And there was a key moment during that match where I thought Charlotte was going to be, I'm the queen. It's all about me. How dare you, Kim? How far she's going to take Alexa Bliss's head off. That nice little note at the end with that suspension of disbelief was the difference maker in telling which prediction was wrong or right. But I will admit, this does feel fresh. Again, strange bedfellas, Team Hell No, LOL. Are they friends? Who knows? We are just partners of convenience or coincidence. But ever since looking at Evolution, how Charlotte Flair pulled Alexa Bliss, I really thought there was a glimmer of hope they were going to pull the trigger, but I just didn't buy into it yet, and it bit me in the ass. But I do think Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair redefine the women's tag team division that Triple H is trying to evolutionize once again. How many times do you reinvent the wheel before it no longer is round and no longer moves forward? I'm hoping with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, we actually get some sort of momentum. And based on what we saw Monday Night Raw, maybe that's the case. We already had new challengers. Sounds like we're getting a new team. Does SmackDown have a new team waiting on the scenes? And will we finally see these maybe in NXT again? So I can't argue right now that they definitely have a fun character dynamic and a unique wrestling perspective in what both bring in this duo. So the decision was right, but it does tell me also that maybe Raw's getting tired of the Judgment Day itinerary, or that Morgan might be out more longer than we think.
I would agree with you on getting tired of the Judgment Day. The only problem is that's the only way Finn Balor's been on TV the last 2 years, is being in backstage segments with the Judgment Day, and he is the modern day locker room leader. Like,
Accurate.
so, like, going into the beginning of this year, like, I thought he might even be a candidate to win the championship, because there was this rumor he's going to get a big push because WWE really, really likes Finn Balor. But I still think that more backstage segments and getting people on TV without having to send them out to the ring and stuff is helpful. You just got to pick it with the right people. And I think that they're doing it right with Judgment Day. But every time they have LA Knight talk backstage or carry or something like that, maybe we'll address Karrion Kross later. But like, you got to do it with the right people. And I think Finn Balor and his group is a great way to do that. They got the clubhouse and they got those, they're just walking around smug, and then you look in the background and they got the stuff going on in the background. So the production value has been really good with that. Now, what match is standing out to you now that you want to talk about?
Oh, man. Looking at the statistics, it really surprises me how many people really thought that I think Jade Cargill was actually going to get her moment here. Everybody thought that Jade Cargill came to rise, her first world championship match, the WWE Women's Championship, Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton. For me, though, I look at what Jeff Meacham says, and it does feel like a lot of Jade Cargill's matches have been heavily maybe pre-rehearsed in a way. It almost feels like when she shows her strength, it's a slow build to get in position and to show what she's capable of. And I do think this match, again, was a proving ground for Jade Cargill. A couple of stumble steps, and like you said, getting prepared for that spot, that pressure. It wasn't like she had to take a massive bump, but could she stand and deliver? For me, though, I thought Tiffany Stratton holding down the title was still going to be a no-brainer. I didn't think they were going to pull the trigger on Jade Cargill because it was the very first time ever. I don't think they were going. I didn't think Jade was like, the hottest thing going on SmackDown right now. I think Tiffany time is still very high promise in WWE and highly regarded. And apparently, a lot of people on the team didn't agree. It surprised me that again, only 33% of the team went with Tiffany Stratton retaining, including me. And what did you think about this? Because obviously, you went with Jade.
So in today's era, and cheap plug, my video's coming out at 8 o'clock. I did a podcast with Ufman and one of my buddies talking about the TV premium live event rights deal that WWE just signed with ESPN. And
Oh yeah.
the reason why I mentioned that is because we had talked about, well, if they're gonna charge essentially more money to watch the events, are they gonna be giving us better quality events, more matches on one night, things like that? It all remains to be seen. So I'm not here to speculate that. But as somebody who, understands that you are choosing these matches, the people who work for WWE pick and choose these matchups, right? And Jade versus Tiffany is a selling point regardless. The problem I have with it, though, especially in the Peacock Premium Live Event era, when you don't need to book these matches and make somebody look weak, like the lower third says, like the ticker says, Tiffany won clean. Like she couldn't have beat like anybody else clean. Like Jade, and I don't know if it's an AEW thing or what it is, but Cody and CM Punk, yeah, they were there before, but they bring Jade over. They was the hottest free agent. They were teasing her, but behind the scenes, you could tell that they didn't really believe in her wrestling ability that much. It's now 2 years removed from that, essentially. I think it was right around November that she was brought in the first time around.
That's correct.
And then, I just think that Jade's got it all. She's a monster. She's gorgeous. She's athletic. I mean, yeah, she gets a little excited and a little overzealous in the ring, but like, why throw her out there to take a clean loss? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, she could be like your Brock Lesnar of the women's division. She could, and like, you didn't have Brock Lesnar losing. No, he was winning championships. He was doing this. Why schedule the match to have her lose? So I thought, well, she's queen of the ring, which nobody's talking about anymore because she got pinned clean. And and the same thing with booking Gunther to tap out. Like, there are things that you don't do because it's short-sighted. Having Jade lose, okay, Tiffany, whatever. But she already had this backstage drama going off script with Charlotte and whatever. Like, I honestly worked myself into a shoot with that because I thought they were going to punish her for that. But you're not just going to throw her the title away. You're going to give it to somebody who would make a believable champion. And they didn't do that. And now I think, where does Jade go from here? Oh, is she going to go challenge Naomi for the title next? Why would she get another title opportunity when she just lost this one?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm mad because I lost, but like, I'm more mad because Jade lost, and I'm a big Jade fan. And what they're doing with her, like, if they just want to be like, ha ha ha, AEW, your best woman ever sucks. Like, why? Like, she works for you guys now. Nobody's buying Jade merchandise. She's almost getting no response now when she's coming out because people are souring on her. Either don't book her in matches and just have her do like run-ins and whatever. And like, what she did at Elimination Chamber was freaking awesome.
That's moment
do more of that stuff.
Yeah, that's the moment for me, honestly, when it comes to Jade's presentation of her character. Because I look at Jade, I think about, this is a woman you don't want to mess with. So maybe you book her because she is that villainous and that dangerous. Whether or not she needs a manager to maybe push that forward, who knows? But when you're comparing her to the likes of Naomi and Bianca Belair, maybe she's in Bianca Belair's shadow, and maybe people just weren't connected with that, seeing the chemistry of her and Bianca, especially at Evolution when Bianca counted 3. But my thing is, I'm surprised Jade didn't go the extra mile of that match. It was her first. How bad she wanted? How hungry was she? Why didn't she go after the championship after the first Jade had failed? Why didn't she go to the desperate measures to make her look like a viable threat if she were to challenge Tiffany again? Bottom line, though, like you said, it just felt like to me they gave Jade this opportunity, but they were already probably running her off this match. Like, okay, never mind. Tiffany's the girl we need to stick with. Jay's not ready yet either. We made the wrong decision, not a champion. Who knows? Because people were already going ballistic with the fact that Asuka lost to her and not a champion. That mystique that Asuka had since WrestleMania 34 prior to facing Charlotte Flair. People thought, okay, she's back. They might try to rebuild that. Nope. She loses to Jade in the finals. So that throws what people were probably clamoring for more than anything. Asuka versus Io at SummerSlam out of the air, or even Asuka versus Rhea getting a WrestleMania 37 match revisit. But I think the thing with Jade is WWE just doesn't know how to use her because she wasn't originally built by them. Remember, Tiffany Stratton was originally built by them through NXT, trained by Mr. Anderson. She's a WWE original, if you want to put it that way. And I just don't think they could do that with Jade. I think that's hurting her in the long run. What does she do now? Take indefinite hiatus, be oblivious, come back out of nowhere and cost Bianca because Bianca might have a better chance to beat Tiffany than her. I think, if nothing else, not to put this into terms that are weather-wise, they may have literally put her frozen underneath a glacier at this point towards what she can do next. Because you're not going to feel with Charlotte without a partner, because Charlotte now is in a tag team with Alexa Bliss. They're the tag champion. So why run Charlotte and Jade? In my opinion, they stopped Jade cold. There's no direction for her right now, it seems. She's stuck.
The only thing that they could do with Jade is when they bring Bianca back, hopefully it's soon, like she did the special guest referee when her hand was still recovering. So she's,
Correct.
got to be somewhere close to being cleared. Otherwise, you wouldn't even put her in the ring to do the special guest referee thing. So maybe she comes back on SmackDown this Friday, tells Jade, you gave it your all, like you've got it, blah 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 blah, and Jade's like feels condescended towards, and then turns on Bianca or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. But like Brock Lesnar came back as soon as the music hit. You knew something was going to happen, and you were super excited. They can have that with Jade. They can have that with Gunther, but they're just not doing the right things with her. Like Brock Lesnar threw a one-legged man in a wheelchair down a flight of stairs.
I remember that.
Because it was a memorable moment, and it makes you really believe that Brock Lesnar is a scary mother effer. So we've seen Jade lose tag team titles to people who are no longer with the company. We've seen her get blindsided and not talk about it for 3 months while she's recovering, while we speculate when she already knew the whole time it was Naomi, but didn't say anything and didn't really give me a good enough explanation as to why she decided to keep it to herself. You could just tell me, well, I wanted to go get revenge on myself. It's nobody else's business. It's my business. So I'm going to come.
I was traumatized, so I pulled the trigger when I felt right. Something like that.
Yeah. And it's just, say she's out until the Royal Rumble. Like a storm is coming. Like you have a song like that. You have a lead in like that. Like freaking the fans should be like nervous, and not because she could hurt them because she's not good in the ring, but like fans should be nervous for their favorite wrestler when she comes out. And it's just not that way. Same with Gunther. Gunther's probably going to be gone until, whenever somebody's gone, usually you're not like right around this time. Usually I think it's the best thing to do is bring them back at Royal Rumble. That's what I think. So I would love to see Jade more, but I think maybe you cool her down. Like you said, she's already on ice, but there's predictions already way too early that are saying she might win the Royal Rumble this upcoming year. The Power Rangers Women Royal Rumble in Saudi. But like, who's going to think that she can beat one of the champions? Right. Like, I think a little bit more long-term with that. And, there's a reason why I don't work for the company and these other people do. But Triple H, time and time again, is like, I already have a destination, and then we'll just figure out how to get there. And to me,
calculating routes.
Like that makes sense. Like you want to know where your story's going, but like, that's just not how traditional storytelling works, right? Like Stephen King's not writing the endings of his books. No, he's thinking about a cool premise and then figures out how to end it. That's just, so I don't know. We've been talking about this too long, but I'm a big Jade fan, and let's hope that if they do decide to have her win the Rumble, that she can finally go over at Mania. But at this point, man, I don't think people want to see her. I don't know. It's just breaking my heart a little bit with that. And
That's fair.
like, obviously, everybody thought it was Jade because why are you booking her against Tiffany? Even though Tiffany's wicked over, it's Tiffy time. The crowd still loves her. Like, I get all that. I do. But her reign hasn't been, it's kind of been lackluster.
Well, when you break Nia Jax 4 times, you haven't like built a new challenger or teased some other challengers and storylines. It kind of becomes that.
Which is why they have, oh, you get an automatic shot if you win Queen of the Ring. Like, they're doing storytelling against people who aren't involved in the story for the match. So, you know, we can talk about that all day.
Yeah.
But that was a decisive match.
Yeah. And
so again, I want to talk about my decision making for the World Heavyweight Championship. Because if you look, I'm one of the only people who did. I hedged my bets, basically. I picked Gunther. Yeah, I picked Gunther to win.
You went
so
three
either
others.
He wins and there's no cash in. And then I put yes as a cash in just in case he doesn't win. Seth's definitely cashing in.
Right.
Now, the thing is I didn't think Seth would let Punk win the match at all. I understand why WWE did it, but Rollins could have easily come out before the pin. Like, Gunther's all bloodied up. Like, if I'm backstage, like, I'm probably thinking, well, maybe Gunther's going to lose this, but I don't want Punk to even hold the title for 5 minutes or whatever. Now Drew McIntyre has more ammunition against CM Punk right now. But I picked Gunther to win just because, I mean, he really should. I honestly thought Seth was going to cash in and make it a triple threat again.
Same.
Like, you know, but it didn't make sense in the story because he's supposed to be hurt. Like, why wouldn't he just wait until the match is over? But, like, if you know CM Punk's going to win it, then stop him from winning it because he was the champion. He's the first ever AEW world champion to win a world championship in WWE. And like, again, I get why WWE decided to do it, but it makes your characters look stupid. The same thing was talked about with Priest not attempting to cash in the Money in the Bank contract all leading up to WrestleMania that year because there were time after time after time after time that it would have been the perfect opportunity. If he wanted to just cash in at WrestleMania, cash in at WrestleMania, okay, cool, whatever. But you look freaking stupid not at least teasing it against these people. When the champion is down and there's a Money in the Bank title holder somewhere, they should be making their presence known anytime a champion is down.
It should be that living cloud, exactly.
Yeah. So Seth shouldn't have let him win it all, but he did. And, you know, he pulled off the ruse of the century that everybody predicted, right? Because
not quite.
Not quite, but like on the online, everybody was saying Seth's injuries to work, whatever, you know, but like it didn't. We see this now. No, yes, no, yes. You know, so it was pretty divided, but like, and then the betting odds were all on CM Punk and a cash in. So like, if I went with the betting odds, which is what I wanted to do, was CM Punk wins and the cash in. But I'm like, Rollins has said he will never let CM Punk hold the title. So I was basing it on the story that they were telling. And so it was a little bit wishy-washy for me there. But you decided that
I was holding out for Gunther because I wanted Gunther to finally win a big show in a big match as champ because he deserves it. And I really didn't think that CM Punk was going to get even there. I was so pleading to believe that Seth was not going to be involved here. And we were going to get a genuine match where Punk literally fights his life out. Shit what Tyler Bate did with Walter back at NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff. Respect maybe noddly shown. Gunther leaves. Punk a heap. Seth still aware his presence is there. Destroys Punk. He's enough fighter. I was thinking it was going to be later. And I was also way off on a different tangent. I'm sure we'll talk about with the other main event where I wanted to see if Seth becomes the sword where once he was the shield. But anyway, staying with this, I felt Gunther deserved a big championship moment. Don't get me wrong. CM Punk has worked extremely hard to get back here to this spot. And I'm not just saying that because he won the gauntlet match against Braun Breaker. But I was trying my best to not think about the Money in the Bank briefcase because to your point, yeah, the triple threat makes sense, but he already did it. We tried something different. And to Seth's credit, he did it extremely differently where we saw a cash in at the end of the freaking show after the fact when the championship won. at SummerSlam. But the difference is biggest SummerSlam ever. Hello, Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan, John Cena, though. That's still one of my most like, what the bet cash-ins ever. And of course, the fix was in, thanks to the special guest referee. But yeah, I was holding out for Gunther to win and Gunther to leave. Punk, though, get the standing ovation, left the ring, thanks the audience, and then Seth comes back, tells it's a ruse, and just obliterates him. So that way we get Seth friggin' Rollins versus Gunther, just cause change the dynamic storyline with CM Punk, maybe get LA Knight back in the mix. Because if Seth was going to show up, I was thinking LA Knight was going to screw him, because LA Knight has also been an enemy. But I saw what they did on Monday Night Raw. Jury's out what they're going to do there, going to War Games. But yeah, and looking at this, you look at the fact that 10 people picked CM Punk to win, and 10 people went with the Money in the Bank cash in, but only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people legitimately got both parts of the formula right, where Punk wins, but Seth cashes in officially and screws him. And I didn't think we were going to go that route. But based on what happened to Gunther and looking at injury reports now, I kind of can see why they did that. Because, yeah, that table spot was like, good Lord, that's his undoing. I haven't seen blood, like Colin said, since prior to WWE. But I just wanted Gunther to get his just due because I think he deserves it. But at the end of the day, Gunther did the work, but Seth had the plan. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And let's not, mince words or anything. Like Gunther losing to CM Punk is it's better than losing to Sami Zayn. It's better than losing to Ilya Dragunov. It's better than losing to Jey Uso, being choked out by your own move from somebody who hasn't submitted somebody in his entire 14-year career.
Yeah, because it was a pinfall win. And to Sammy's credit, though, I will say this. He pinned the man, all right? Gunther is a guy that I don't believe anybody should be able to beat via submission unless they earned it. And Ilya, bigger stage, I would say yes, but I do see what you mean, because TakeOver 36 was inside that little area. If done right, Gunther should have only had one submission loss entirety of his career. I would have given it to Ilya Dragunov at WrestleMania, but Ilya got injured. And to your point about the GPS, I bet that really skewed plans for Gunther by Paul Levesque, considering Ilya and Walter were Paul Levesque's two biggest superstars in NXT UK outside Pete Dunne. Anyway.
Yeah. So, there's really, only a few more. I mean, obviously there's a lot more matches we could talk about, but there's really only a few more. I mean, we'll address it real quick. If you didn't think Roman Reigns was getting a pay-per-view win here, I don't know what to tell you. Yes, right. Bronson and Braun need to look strong, but Roman Reigns hasn't. And somebody DM'd me on Instagram saying, why would you say Roman's constantly been losing? Like on the review, first of all, I mentioned the losses were Elimination Chamber, Royal Rumble, was it WrestleMania? Yeah, WrestleMania. Right? Like, those are losses. I'm sorry, bro. Yeah, he won against Solo in January, but, like, I didn't even respond or accept the message request, but, like, I said it during the video. Like, these are the losses. He needs a big win, and so if you didn't think Roman Reigns was going to win, especially with Jey Uso, like, I don't know what to tell you. That one to me was about as clear-cut as it got. Now,
yeah, I thought that would be the other unanimous one, but 3 people thought that they were going to get Bronson and Braun breakup. Maybe they were going to pin Jay and Roman was going to go off to do movies. Maybe that was their thinking. But again, WWE, what was the last shot on Monday Night Raw? Roman and Jay obliterated. Yeah, they were going to win at SummerSlam.
Yeah, and maybe people thought that what happened on Raw would have been the ending of the match on SummerSlam, but it's just Roman needed a win, and there was really nothing at stake, so it felt obvious that he was going to win.
Right.
Now, the match that I went back and forth with, because of the betting odds, was Fatu and Solo.
Yeah,
now,
I
made the prediction that Solo with the United States Championship, once he won, was going to be the best storyline that WWE had going coming into the summer. It's been a little lackluster, but it led to Tala Tonga. We're going to be getting more of the NFTs back.
Yeah.
I just don't see how Jacob Fatu needs a championship, let alone a mid-card title he's already held.
Well, I mean, it was the first time that he won. Yeah, for me, it's just one of those things right now that I don't see Jacob Fatu stand in the mid-card picture. He's got the it. He's got the merchandise sales. He's got the energy. He's over with the audience. And people right now bought into him ever since he was literally let off the chain when he wasn't let off the chain. But obviously here, they're doing more with him and Solo Sikoa for right now, maybe testing him out to see how well you can tell a story. But yeah, I did see Solo Sikoa losing. But as far as the match content itself, different conversation. The match could have been more, but the result was right. I just really hope for the upteam time we don't get another bloodline versus bloodline, family versus family feud in the War Games. For Pete's sake, move Jacob Fatu into a gauntlet or a tournament of elimination or something towards the World Championship. I would love to see him go after the W Championship.
And Triple H mentioned on the post show that he basically said, I'm paraphrasing here, so Fatu has no time to win the United States Championship because he's going to be going for the World Championship here soon. So that was basically the gist of what he said. It wasn't verbatim like that. But yeah, so I thought that as much as the betting odds were for Jacob, Solo and his whole Solo's stick as mob boss, family leader doesn't really work without a championship. And Fatu's a psycho, unpredictable variable. He doesn't need a championship. He might, I guess you want to give him the world championship, but he doesn't even need that. Just make him a freaking top of the card monster. You'll notice a theme throughout watching me over the years. I like my monster WWE wrestlers and to be monsters.
But so, isn't that kind of the context of what they are? I mean, you saw Sikoa sell that fear, whether it was legit or not. When Jacob Fatu broke those handcuffs, Solo was running for his life. And it wasn't for Tama Tonga kicking that door in his face. Solo would have been literally ripped apart.
Right. And again, that's what happens when you've got somebody who's booked the way that they appear, right? It's almost like they should be doing this exact same type of stuff with Jade. But I do, in the interest of time, I do want to talk about the main event of the weekend, right? We could talk about Cross and Sami Zayn. I picked Sami Zayn, but it should have been Cross. Whatever.
I picked Cross.
Yeah, we could talk about Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch, but it was the 100th time they've wrestled, and I honestly didn't even really care about the match. And then Bayley inserts herself into it for no freaking reason. And leads to a loss.
And then Lyra's trying to get away from Bayley, which she should, because she got a better chance to become champion on her own. And we all talked about the Wyatt Six pretty much were definitively should have won that match. And regardless, pretty much everybody outside of freaking two people picked them in some capacity. But yeah, the main event's the main events. Dead even, 50-50 split. Go for it, Gino, because again, that's your boy.
Yeah, that is my boy. I grew up as going to a summer camp where John Cena was the camp counselor. His mom was my bus driver to school every single day when I lived in West Newbury, Massachusetts. So Cena's going to be my boy, regardless of whether he tells me I'm creating a toxic relationship for him or whatever. But real quick, the betting odds were on AJ Styles going in a week prior, and then going into the match, they switched to Dominic. So I went with the betting odds on that because I thought it could have gone either way. It really could have.
It was a fun little nod. Eddie Guerrero smiling down from heaven, but I just didn't see Dom losing that title right now.
Yeah,
I didn't see another SummerSlam screw job. I went to SummerSlam Live last year. I saw that live with Damian Priest. I didn't need to see that again.
Exactly. And then as far as the Wyatt Six, I picked Andrade and Rey Fenix because obviously they've been trending in towards that. But I picked the Wyatt Six as a backup just because they're the current champ. But I was nervous about it because you've got all these teams. This feels like a good way to get the titles off of them. You know what I mean? Now they just beat the entire division, which I guess plays into the storyline that the division's in trouble with the Wyatts being the champions. But I digress. Yeah, Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Cena versus Cody Rhodes.
Good Lord Almighty.
You could argue it was one of Cena's very best wrestling matches. It was clean. We didn't have the interference. I mean, obviously it was a street fight, so there was all that stuff. And Cena beat the crap out of Cody. He beat the crap out of him. And I think that, that's how you do a passing of the torch type of thing. Now, I wanted to pick Cena, obviously, but all the signs were pointing towards him not. It was all the chatter online. This is Cody's chance, because why book Cena Cody if going into the heel turn, everybody predicted that Cody was going to eventually get the title back from Cena? If Cody loses this match, he's got nothing.
Exactly.
So it had to be Cody, and then see what happens. And I bet, because you guys that don't know, and even some of you guys that do, Noah leaves a spot at the end of his predictions form for other thoughts about the show. And I'm willing to bet a lot that nobody put Brock Lesnar is appearing on the show. So unless somebody did, we will give him a shout out here. But that is very
I'll take
clearly
him up.
why they did this. Yeah, while you're looking now, Virtue and other people were giving me grief for like being a mark and believing Cena's face turn. But I get why. Hey, maybe he's gonna just pull a switcheroo on us, what have you. But especially after the Seth switcheroo and the way Cena was talking about it, he was like, "Listen, guys, like I don't want to ruin wrestling. Like I bought into somebody else's idea of Shock TV because the WWE Unreal released that Tuesday, and I think that the timing of that release was very important because as soon as that was done, the next show, Cena turns face like that." And I know that they did that because they wanted Cena to have his good guy entrance going into SummerSlam. They
Yeah.
wanted one good guy entrance with the title. So I believed it, even though I was called a mark and all this stuff. I was just like, he's insulting The Rock, he's insulting Travis, he's insulting Triple H, he's insulting, Shock TV. Like I was like, he's not going to say that and then kind of go right back to it. And I'm glad my faith paid off. Having said that, though, I do think Cena would have liked to have held the championship until his last match. But now that we know Brock Lesnar's back, they very clearly don't want the title involved in that, which makes me believe that Brock's going to beat Cena's ass because, like, Cena could just have the title, beat Cody, shouldn't have even booked the match, and then Brock Lesnar comes back, and then it's fighting for the title again. Cena can finally get his wins back, slay the beast, whatever. But they don't want the title involved in this. Similar to last year when Drew McIntyre won the Money in the Bank, they had him cash in that very same night because they didn't want the plans that they had for the men's championships to be tainted by the shadow of a Money in the Bank holder.
Right.
So they've obviously got big plans for this. Cena's advertised for Friday, but Brock Lesnar isn't. So I'm confused if we're even going to get Lesnar back in the coming weeks or what's going to happen with that. So I'm excited to see what's going to go on with that. But overall, like you've got this match. I mean, maybe they won't do 2 nights with the new ESPN deal, but then they announced that they're doing multiple 2-night shows. So we're going to get stuff that maybe shouldn't be on the card, like a Jade versus Tiffany, because of the outcome of that match, or like a Lyra versus Becky. Yeah, those and then you can just tighten it up. But now we're going to have these matches, which, okay, cool. I don't want to ignore the fact that WWE, what made AEW so popular with talent was they were treated with respect and things like that. There was a talent-friendly thing, and WWE is trying their best to get more people on the shows, more people paydays, and I think the talent are appreciative of that. But at the same time, your viewers now have to tune in 2 different nights, and you've only got 3. It's like a 3-hour event at most, which is great. But like, I think back to like, dude, if I go put on WrestleMania 17 right now, it's one straight show, straight through. All it tells a story. It's all booked properly and whatever. It's just so we'll have to see with that. But overall, I knew because we talked about it going into it on Night One predictions video on No DQ video. Go give them a like and a follow because they're awesome and they're how Noah and I have met.
Appreciate Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron's the GOAT. And we talked about how even if it seems lackluster, I still feel like WWE is going to over deliver. And they did. But how are you going to get somebody to pay 3 times as much money a month for these events unless you're really giving the people what they want in that? So, I mean, that's a story for another video. At 8 o'clock, check it out. Cheap plug. It'll be going live. My thoughts with Uthman and my buddy C-Rod on all the news that's been going on today with the ESPN deal. But yeah, man. So let's bring up the full standings right now, and then maybe next week we can do, or next time we do it, we do a who jumped, rise and
Yeah,
falls.
I'll do like literally the rise and the falls, the ups and
Yeah.
downs. But yeah, just to echo though what you talked about here, focusing more on this, I will also say this. Stay tuned this weekend for Saturday Shenanigans. We'll also be talking about this breaking news that JJ broke because again, I don't know anything unless my friends tell me because I don't scroll, I have notifications. So shout out to Mega Wrestling JJ Williams. Also subscribe, Cast 18 Studios. Love you, brother. I'll be moderating the conversation behind that, I believe, for Saturday Shenanigans this Saturday. So stay tuned for more on that, folks. But yeah, to say something real quick about this match. You went with Cody Rhodes. I went with John Cena. I was holding out before the night one events. And again, I honor predictions being done ahead of the show. I don't believe in changing middle of the course. And with 2 nights, that's going to be definitely something people got to think about now because clearly what happens on night 1 could affect what you think happens on night 2. If you're going to have a big moment like Seth's Rules on night 1, you are not going to have the big heel turner gotcha rules on night 2. And it bit me, as well as half the team, because I picked John Cena to retain. Again, I am not thought about Brock Lesnar since the Paul Levesque era began, period. What I was thinking about here was Cody taking time away with the movie, come back with the dark hair, and go heel on his own. Why he says, again, I will never go heel. Instead, now he's the captain, and they course corrected, it seems, on Friday night, where John Cena literally passed the torch to him 100%, if we're being perfectly honest. So, in result, I can understand why they did that. And I also think John Cena, in a way, and maybe this is just me going really into John Cena's mind, because he's the one that guided this, the subtle looking down at the belt at Backlash, thinking about, what am I doing? I almost wonder, was that a moment that he realized, am I doing the wrong thing? And then what Cody did, was that truly the light bulb that triggered John Cena to go back to hustle, loyalty, respect, colorful babyface ways? Again, hindsight's 2020, but I will say this. Between John Cena versus Daniel Bryan, John Cena versus CM Punk, John Cena versus AJ Styles. Oh, and by the way, here's a commonality with 2 of those matches I just named. They were at SummerSlam. One was at Money in the Bank. This right here is in my top 5 John Cena matches of all time. This emotional roller coaster was absolutely beautifully incredible. Had me on the edge of my seat, especially after the kick out with the trifecta crossroads and the avalanche AA. And of course, that table being the last spot and literally giving the Warriors dead with a salute, icing on the cake. Phenomenal match. Pissed off I got it wrong. But to your point, yeah, we can go ahead and take a look at the leaderboard here. And again, we'll talk more about the ESPN, quantity versus quality. Do you get enough bang for your buck between your show, Saturday show, and who knows, probably the review next week too. I'm sure that'll be a topic of conversation. So again,
yeah, and I am hosting the review, so I am
nice.
Curious as to see. Well, we got to see what happens on SmackDown and things like that, but I definitely think that that's going to be a talking point for that review for sure. And we kind of have to wait and see, right? Like there's still so much we don't know because, like I said in my video that will air tonight at 8. I don't think they were talking about, well, how does this affect people that already have ESPN? How does it affect people that don't have ESPN? Like, I don't think they give a crap about that. I think they just wanted to make the deal and then they'll figure it all out in post. They do have 4 or 5 months to get that figured out. So we will have to wait and see, but there are way more cons than pros in that. And you will see all of my thoughts there tonight at 8. So
there you go. So let's go ahead and take a look at the leaderboard since you want to check that out. Again, folks, I don't only do this for the team. I also do this for the Galaxy. If you want to know more about the Galaxy standings, stay tuned for City Predicting. The next City Predicting will be for AEW Forbidden Door and NXT Heatwave coming up later in the month, as well as TNA Emergence. And, of course, the next release style will be Clash in Paris. Again, City Predicting, anything but. I moderate a prediction show. And then people make me lose control. So it is what it is. And Gino, you've seen it firsthand. Anyway, here's the leaderboard where it stands for Team No DQ. As you can see, prior to SummerSlam, our own fearless Bella, Kate and Bella, was holding down the lead, followed by Kayfabe, me. Gino, you were right there, basically in third place, 45, 46, 47, 1-point margin. And here's what happened after SummerSlam. You're still in the same spot. It's still pretty close, but Caitlin's got a very comfortable lead with a 4-point margin. And with the fact that we have, I believe, 3 shows left, Clash in Paris, Crown Jewel, and Survivor Series, unless they announce like Bad Blood or some other show besides that, might have this locked in. But again, anything can happen. All you got to do is tank a show, and that can be the difference. These gold scores represent the higher scores of the night. They do not represent perfects. I hide the idea of anybody did anything perfectly until the league actually concludes. It's part of my evolution of these predictions league. So if you're not in the league yet, join in the fun, make your debut, make your impact, and see what you could do and see at the end of the day which member of the team or Galaxy has won. So again, Gino, it's not hopeless for you and I yet, but Caitlin has this pretty locked in right now.
Right. And it kind of for me comes straight down to evolution. I had my
That was
worst
your worst
night.
show this year. I'm
Yeah. I
sorry.
mean, I've had backlash where I only got 5 right, but 6 right was the most. Well, I had 5 right and 9 right was the most. That's a 4-point difference, and then I'm 4
Yeah.
points out of the leaderboard. But the best thing is like, whether you're going based on the betting odds or whether you're going on your heart or a little bit of both, right? Like you can't just pick the favorites because all the betting favorites didn't end up winning. So like it's not just a simple, right? It's a little bit more complicated than you think. Oh, because I started the year off 6 for 6 or whatever, tied for the most right because I forget how many were actually in there with the Royal Rumble. But I love seeing this rise and fall. That was great. Well done. Guys, give Noah his flowers, man.
I'm
This
gonna do
does
a
take
line
time.
graph next.
It's yeah, and these graphics and the way you're running this video. So, in the effort of time here, because I know I do have to get something done here in a little bit
Fair enough.
for work. But like guys, whether you're watching live right now or on demand later, let us know in the comments what you think. Would you like us to continue to do these videos? I know we're going to at least do it for the next WWE event post-mortem. But I don't know. Do you want to see Noah do the AEW and the NXT event post-mortems too? Like, let us know. Comment below on what your predictions did. If you're not part of the league, if you are part of the league, if you want to be in the league, throw a comment on Noah's video. We are simulcasting this to his channel and my channel. Noah's one of the realest people you guys are gonna meet. Obviously, if you're watching on his channel, you know that. And I'm still relatively actually. I think I just had my 1 year anniversary of the No DQ review because I
Yeah,
started after SummerSlam last year.
good
So
on you.
here we go.
There you go. 1 year later.
But
And now we're adding
you're
data
right.
analysis and predictions, post spots, and I love it.
Absolutely. And like you said at the beginning of the show, we both really love data and stats. So this is really fun for us. So we hope you guys are feeling that through the screen. And obviously, this is the names you see here are all associated with the No DQ Galaxy. So don't forget to go check out Aaron's channel, No DQ, on YouTube and his website, nodq.com, which brings us all together. And yeah, you can go check out my channel if you're not already there. You can go check out Noah's channel if you're not already there. And yeah, I don't know about but I had a lot of fun with this, and I look forward to doing this again, man.
Definitely after Clash in Paris. And since you did name the Galaxy, because this is the team, shout out to the Galaxy and my fellow horseman of predictions, Mark Griffith, in first place after SummerSlam because he did extremely well. So good on you, Mark, and well done to Ashley and Richard in second place, as well as Ian Stabretsky in third place. Again, keep it up, folks. The analyst Michael Wayne was the inaugural winner of the No DQ Galaxy Predictions League when I started doing these back in 2017. So don't count him out. And Christopher Ross has also won this too, as I keep a little track board of the winners for both the team and the Galaxy. And I'll show you that at the end of the year in our final post-mortem of the year as well. So good luck to everybody. And again, appreciate data, appreciate wrestling. And at the end of the day, just have fun simply predicting.
It's as simple as that, as Noah would say. And guys, as always, we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Have a good night, folks.